Well, election 2018 is just days away. We've debated the proposals, we've looked at many of the races, but now we're going in depth on the battle for Attorney General. It's an important office, and we're seeing the role of Attorney General becoming even more powerful with the ability to weigh in on pivotal national issues. Candidates Tom Leonard and Dana Nessel are very different, and the number of ads and money put into this race puts in perspective what's at stake.
Oh yeah, so the Tri-County Citizen, was that there when you were? Okay.
It's a last-minute push to sway voters in a competitive and pivotal race for Attorney General in Michigan. Tom Leonard, Republican Speaker of the State House, a conservative and Trump supporter, plans on championing mental health issues, elder care, and expanding the Public Integrity Unit.
Is that I will be a rule of law Attorney General that will enforce the laws. And even if there is a law that may contradict where I am at politically or philosophically, that law will still be defended.
Thank you, everybody.
His opponent, Democrat Dana Nessel, is an activist attorney who gained notoriety fighting Michigan's gay marriage ban and winning. She's campaigning on water quality, affordable health care, and consumer protections.
I want a government that actually cares about the people in this state again and wants to do things to help them.
Nessel has also been quoted as saying she'll sue the Trump administration all day, every day.
Is that an accurate assessment?
Well, what I will say is this. I certainly am somebody who's willing to hold the federal government accountable if they're engaging in acts that hurt the residents of this state.
And it's that emerging power of attorneys general nationwide to challenge the current administration's policies that has put more focus on races this November.
Michigan is one of 30 Attorney General races on the ballot this November. It's one of 8 competitive races being closely watched. Right now, there are 27 Republican Attorneys General, 22 Democrats, with one appointed by an independent governor. And if Democrats can change the numbers, we could see increased legal challenges.
Thank you guys so much. Okay, we'll see.
So they don't need permission of Congress to bring these lawsuits, and they don't even need the permission of the governor in most states in which AGs are independently elected. So they have a lot of discretion to bring the sort of lawsuits that they want to bring.
Paul Nolet is a professor at Marquette University in Milwaukee and author of Federalism on Trial, a study of the rising political activism of state attorneys general. Nolet says the 90s and tobacco litigation signaled the beginning of attorneys general coordinating efforts to take on national issues.
The AGs successfully concluded the largest civil settlement in U.S. history in 1998, and ever since then, they've really taken it upon themselves to play a much bigger role in national politics.
Now he sees coalitions breaking down along party lines. Earlier this year, 20 Republican attorneys general banded together in the latest round of lawsuits against the Affordable Care Act. In June, 18 Democratic attorneys general sued over family separations at the border.
They're getting involved in highly controversial issues of Obamacare and environmental politics and climate change and transgender rights. I think it's inevitable that every AG of both parties are going to come into their job with certain views about how their office should approach these issues.
Here in Michigan, Susan Reed is the lead attorney for the Michigan Immigrant Rights Center in Kalamazoo. She's watching the state attorney general race closely, knowing it could directly impact the lives of her clients.
The thing that has changed the most, there's so much litigation about the way immigration policy is developing now. And so attorneys general are in positions to bring high-profile lawsuits with states having standing to challenge the policies. It certainly was a huge setback during the Obama administration that we were not able to proceed with the Deferred Action for Parents of Americans program. It would have made such a difference in the lives of our clients.
Leonard is cautious about the state attorney general role in immigration.
Well, so much of immigration is based on federal law. The Supreme Court has made very, very clear that that is the case. Certainly the Attorney General can be a strong advocate when they believe things are going wrong.
Nessel takes a different view.
Yet we have an Attorney General that is not very much in tune with the needs of the Arab American community, and certainly did not join in the travel ban lawsuit in defense of some of the immigrant communities that were involved in that. And what I will say is this: I plan to do everything I possibly can to fully support and defend the rights of all communities in this state.
Michigan's had a Republican attorney general for the last 8 years. The issues the next attorney general will have to face statewide: litigation from the Flint water crisis, the opioid epidemic, LGBTQ, and women's reproductive rights. Voters will have to decide which candidate will use their best discretion on what fights to join or sit out.
I intend to utilize this office in a way where it helps everyone around this state and really have an office of Attorney General that just gives a damn about the people who live here again.
I'm not just going to pick and choose which laws will and will not be upheld. I'm not going to choose them based on my political bias. That is not the role of the Attorney General nor that office, and that is a big distinction between me and my opponent.
Now, a shorter version of that story that we did on the Attorney General race aired on the PBS NewsHour earlier this week, and I think it was really interesting in doing this story and looking at the wider view that a lot of attorneys general are taking, and that this is an important office that maybe sometimes voters don't put a lot of stock into because it's a little bit down the ticket, Nolan.
Well, and that's right. It is an important office, and it matters who is in it. One of the reasons you have now this flurry of support flowing in for Tom Leonard, the Republican candidate, from the business community, from the Republican Party, is they understand the importance of holding that seat, and they're scared to death of Dana Nessel. I mean, she said she's going to spend her time suing Donald Trump, suing corporations. That's not a good image for the state to project when you have an activist attorney general. And so they see that as a must-win seat if they hope to keep the forward progress of Michigan going. Unfortunately, they're standing a candidate who's not all that dynamic in Tom Leonard.
But wouldn't you say that many attorneys general have become activist attorneys?
I was going to say, we have an activist attorney general right now. His name is Bill Schuette. He has done innumerable damage or immeasurable damage.
But he's been active on his own.
Well, he's been active on his own
to serve his
ideological hobby horses,
to
right?
serve his own political agenda.
What the business community likes about Bill Schuette is that he doesn't hold them accountable for the things that they do that harm Michigan citizens. He's backed way off of the regulatory side of that office. Dana Nessel would enliven that. Again, it would be more like what we had when Jennifer Granholm was Attorney General or Frank Kelly before her. These are choices that voters make.
I don't think she'll be as rational as either of those two. I think you've got an activist seeking this office. She'll be a social activist, political activist. I don't know that serves the interest of Michigan taxpayers well.
Why not?
Well, because, I mean,
on behalf of the
if you're driving away jobs, if you're sending a message that Michigan is no longer a friendly environment to create jobs, we've been there. And we know what that produces.
So
social activism on the part of taxpayers are making it a place more hospitable to certain people.
Let's make this very specific. The ongoing controversy over PFAS, this environmental pollution, that's what it is, that companies are putting into the water. The current administration and Bill Schuette are not interested in seeking ways to hold those companies accountable for that.
Well, and that's
Dana
not,
Nessel
that's
will.
not exactly
now,
true.
Will
the governor
she go
has come
too
out
far?
with a very
Will she go too far is the question, but
that.
she will certainly do far more than either of them has been interested in doing, and that is on behalf of people who drink the water.
She'll push a far left agenda, that's not good
let me
for business.
hang on one second. Let me ask you this: Is Tom Leonard the best? Is he the best person for this job?
Of the two, he is. He absolutely is, because I think he will not allow his own personal agenda, his own personal politics to drive his decision making. That's the attorney for the whole state of Michigan. And you can't be
what evidence
overly
do you have
partisan.
that Leonard would not do that?
You can't be overly partisan, and you can't
be overly partisan,
engaged in activism.
But can you actually say, is it possible to not let your personal politics or your conservatism not play a role in some of the decisions?
It always comes in, but
Tom Leonard has no record of that.
If you're mission driven here, on the part of a far left political agenda, I don't see how that helps Michigan taxpayers.
Well,
I don't see
how
that helps keep Michigan an open and friendly state.
People would consider him far right.
Yeah,
and
he's
people would consider her
so
far
right.
This is a divided state. You shouldn't be operating too far left. I haven't seen anything about Tom Leonard to suggest that he's going to use the office to focus on a political agenda.
But what's the basis for that conclusion? This is a guy who's been one of the most partisan actors in state government since he joined state government. Before that, this is somebody who had no relevant experience to this
He's been
job.
a prosecutor, he's been an assistant attorney general. He understands,
This is a management job.
He understands the limits of the office, and he also understands what the office should be for. First and foremost, he's the attorney for the people of the state of Michigan, not just the people on the far left of the state of Michigan.
Let me ask this. So we're looking at a ticket here, and we always say coming from the top in terms of voter turnout and whatnot. If Bill Schuette has a problem at the top there, will that not trickle down for the rest of the ticket?
It always does. I think it's going to be a bad year for the top of the ticket, but I think that's why you're seeing trying to staunch the bleeding with this office and with the state senate. They're pouring
I
a
would
lot of
say
money
Is that
into
possible?
state
I would
senate
say that's
races.
going to play out differently this year because there is no straight ticket voting. You have to make a decision on each office, and I think people will take more time, and you will see more split ticket behavior than you normally do because people have people have that option who
But that's not
didn't
showing
before.
up in the polls, Steve. Right
I know
now,
it's
every
not.
race is about the same margin.
Yeah.
So
All right.
you might as well have straight
Speaking
ticket
of the race
voting.
and speaking about the top of the ticket, I moderated Detroit Econ Club meeting between Gretchen Whitmer and Bill Schuette. They actually spoke separately, not together in the same stage. We've heard now that Bill Schuette is pulling out a lot of his advertising money and just concentrating it in the city of Detroit, pulling it from the outstate. Give me a snapshot of where you see this race right now, Stephen.
I think this race will end up looking like the race in 2014 between Rick Snyder and Mark Schauer in terms of the margin, 3.5, 4 points. I think that's too much for Bill Schuette to overcome at this point. It probably wasn't a month ago, but I'm not sure it was even that close then. I think he's pulling out because it's too much. It's too much to overcome at the last minute. But I don't think this will be a blowout. I'm not sure that any of the statewide races will be. If any of them are, I think it could be Debbie Stabenow who blows out John James. But
What do you think, Nolan, in terms of looking at the governor's
race? I think it
race?
depends on how much Democrats have improved their ground game, their get out the vote game, which has never been very good here. Republicans have done very well in that. I think it's going to be, my feeling is this is going to be a not such a close election. I think Republicans are going to be hurt all down the ticket. They may hang on to, Bishop may hang on to his seat, but it'll be very narrow. I would think it's going to be a 6, 7, even an 8% election at the top of the ticket.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting to watch. And
I mean, that's a
interesting,
blowout.
and
We haven't
Well, it is
seen
a
that in a
blowout.
while, yeah.
Well, not since the Engler years, right?
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, well, one more interesting thing to watch in the 13th Congressional District. Brenda Jones decided that she's going to be a write-in candidate, which seemed to be confusing for everyone involved.
Yeah.
What was the wisdom behind this, Nolan?
Well, there's no wisdom.
Well,
There's absolutely no wisdom.
I don't think that's
If you're going to run a write-in candidate, you need to do that on day
Yeah.
one. A week is probably not enough time to let 700,000 voters know, or 500,000 voters know that you're in the race.
Well,
It's just
actually what this
foolishness.
is, so if you want your votes to count, your write-in votes to count, you have to declare that you are a write-in candidate. So if I write in Mickey Mouse, but Mickey Mouse hadn't said he's a write-in candidate for the job,
They've got to
my
throw it
vote
out.
does not count.
Right.
And so this way, if people decide that she's the person they want over Rashida Tlaib or the Republican who's on the ballot, then they can do it. I think this also reflects, though, just how disappointed Brenda is in the election outcome. I think she
Correct.
really believes that if one of the other African-American Democratic candidates had stayed out of that
That's
race, she
probably
might have
true.
beaten Rashida.
It's probably true,
Tlaib,
but if my aunt
but-
had different parts, she'd be my uncle. I mean, what you've got here.
That's nothing I want to
is-
see on a T-shirt, Nolan.
What you've got here is someone who's detached from reality.
Yeah,
I mean,
well.
she's not Mike Duggan in terms of her
No,
write-in.
no,
All right.
but she wants the votes
Well,
to count.
and we're going to see what happens. I
Four of them.
cannot wait to see you next Thursday after the election
Yep.
so we can hash it all.